Good afternoon. Today, Saturday, August 16th, 2014, is history. Why? Well, because it is the official launch of the Emotional Physical Therapy Training Institute, where we are certifying life coaches. That's the first training. Certifying life coaches in the emotional physical therapy method. And you may say, so what's this about a method? Well, emotional physical therapy. The mission is to coach while being, which means that while certifying coaches, I'm also being a coach, okay? Integrating the mind and the body with the soul's purpose. You see, there are a lot of life coaches out there, and I'm not knocking anybody's methodology. However, how many of you have gotten involved in something, gotten certified, degreed, and not know how to take that next step into putting it into practice? You know, application. Well, that's what emotional physical therapy is about. You see, level 1 certification requires that the coaches not just get theory, but apply it to themselves. And the reason being is this. Way back when I was getting my master's degree at Xavier University in sport administration and focusing on community counseling and that well, I had an excellent course in group process. And what this course required us to do was to actually be in groups and to actually deal with those issues that had been hindering our progress. This was key to me because, as my professor then said, many of us in the helping profession don't deal with our own issues. And so taking that learning, applying that learning to my own life is the basis of emotional physical therapy. Last summer, I published my first work, which is Emotional Physical Therapy, 120 Days to Infinity, and you can order this on Amazon.com. There it is, Emotional Physical Therapy, 120 Days to Infinity. And what it is it's a workbook that is broken up into 3 phases. Phase 1 is the first 40 days. Now, if you know anything about Ayurveda, that's spelled Ayurveda, then you will learn, or you may know, that it takes 40 days for us to break a habit. And I know you've heard, 21 days, 40 days. Look through all religious texts, spiritual texts, anything. 40 days, okay? So the first 40 days is detoxifying our minds. Now, you say, well, I want to be a life coach. What do I need to do this for? You need to do it because you are coaching others while being, okay? So whenever you get a client and that client comes to you and they may be sharing with you something that is going on within themselves, guess what? It may trigger something in you. And unless you know what your own personal triggers are, you will then begin coaching them from your perspective versus taking their information and guiding them through the process of coming to their own way of proactively handling life situations. That is the key to life coaching, because you're not a therapist, you're not a counselor, you are a coach. And what do coaches do? Regardless of whether you're coaching athletic teams or you're coaching as in emotional physical therapy as a life coach, you are actually helping the individual take what is within them and utilize it to further themselves. That is the key. So phase 1 is detoxifying your mind, and then as you are coaching others to detoxify their mind. You see, this workbook here, this workbook will not only just be your workbook in the certification process, but this is the tool to use with your clients. All right. The second phase is rehabilitating the mind. You see, once we detoxify, we have to rehabilitate. Now, the rehabilitation process is where we're acquiring the new habit. All right, we're putting it into practice. And you may say, well, that sounds like a lot of work. Well, guess what? What do they say about insanity? If you continue to do the same things and expecting a different outcome, isn't that the definition of insanity? And what we're about, what this whole program is about emotional, physical therapy. Becoming unstuck. All right? So, phase 2 is rehabilitating the mind. And that takes anywhere from, let's say, 90 days to rehabilitate the mind. Again, that's from Ayurveda and that's research. So look that up. So then you've gone through 40 days and then you've gone days 41 through 90, rehabilitating the mind. And now days 91 through 120, which is the recovery period. Now, recovery is lifelong. That's the reason for the title, Emotional Physical Therapy, 120 days to infinity. Because also, according to Ayurveda, it takes us 1,000 days, which comes to the equivalent of 2.5 years, somewhere around there, 1,000 days for the new habit to become innate. Now, visualize this. Say you have a way of being that's down in your cells, okay, down in your cellular DNA. And that's the way you've been operating throughout life because it's what you've done for so long. So it's just like that. Well, once you've gone through that process of detoxing, rehabilitating, and recovery, during that process, the new habit, the new way of thinking and being becomes what is now down in your cellular DNA. Isn't that awesome? I know for me it has been awesome, which is the reason for the Emotional Physical Therapy Training Institute. You see, it's not enough for me to be on YouTube doing videos or me out, working with individual clients or corporations or teams. I don't want to be the only one. My gift as a coach is to equip. You know how you have the fundamental coaches? And for parents, I'm going back to my sport administration days, but for parents, if you have a coach of your child who is not teaching the proper fundamentals, guess what will happen? Correct. The lack of fundamentals in the beginning, laying that foundation. If you don't lay a good foundation, people, then guess what? The house that you build, meaning our lives, that house will begin to have cracks in the structure, which then requires what? It will require a whole lot of renovations. Now, apply that to our lives. Many of us didn't have good foundations because guess what? Children do not come with owner's manuals. They don't come with troubleshooting guides. You have psychiatrists and child psychologists who have written books and all this and the such, but we don't come with operating manuals. So the people that we come to, our parents, they do the best they can with what they have. But the beauty in our minds, in our spirits, is that just because the foundation wasn't so great does not mean that the house, the life that we live, that it cannot be reconstructed. The brain is a beautiful, beautiful storage. It is beautiful. Why? Because our brain cells can be reprocessed. Our mindsets can be changed. And that happens when we align ourselves, when we are honest with ourselves, okay? So with honesty comes change. So you got the 3 phases. Now, what that means in the certification program is there are 4 courses. And each course is worth 3 credit hours. Now, the course is run consecutively. It's not all 4 courses at one time. So roughly about 120 days as far as calendar work. But you have assignments. Oh, this is not where I could probably break up a lot of money if I just said, oh, right here, just take this little mini quiz and you are a life coach. That's not the intent for the Emotional Physical Therapy Training Institute. Remember, coaching while being, where we develop and deliver programs that align our clients' minds, bodies with their purpose. And this methodology, as far as coaching is concerned, as far as life is concerned, can be applied to any and every situation. All right? We have the level 1 certification, which is the prerequisite for specialist certificates as well. Yes, offering a specialist certificate. All right? So if you are licensed in your state as a marriage and family counselor, and you know what those license requirements are, then you would be certified level 1 with emotional physical therapy, because you got to have that foundation. And then there are 2 additional courses that are applicable to what you do and how to integrate this into your practice. Likewise, if you're a human resources professional working for a corporation, this is a wonderful, wonderful training for you to add to your portfolio so that you can best serve your company and its employees. Which leads to what? Greater morale and, of course, increased productivity. And last but not least, for athletic coaches, we see all the time, ESPN, you name it, talking about issues off the field and coaches not knowing what to do. Well, with emotional physical therapy, you are not only equipped, you're educated and empowered to address those issues when you see them and not make the issues yours, but to then do an effective method of coaching with your athletes so that you're not just getting their physical productivity, but you're getting their total buy-in where they actually see that they are responsible for their emotions and they're responsible for their activities, not just from a, talking aspect, but from a being aspect. All right. So there are 4 courses, each worth 3 credit hours. The first course is the introduction to emotional physical therapy. And during the life coaching process of being certified, yes, you're using your workbook, so you're going through that first phase. That's your first course. The second course is experiencing detoxification of the mind. And this is where you're actually taking your own life experiences in order to better understand the process of rehabilitating your own mind. All right. Then the third course is experiencing rehabilitating the mind. It's all about experiencing it, notating it, being in that observant role of yourself before you can then go out and do the same thing with others. And then the last course in the level 1 certification is experiencing recovery, 120 days to infinity. All right. So the introduction to emotional physical therapy, which is where you not only are using the workbook, but guess what? Going back to that, there's also another text. It's called The Path, and it's by Lori Beth Jones. You see, it's important for you to have your own personal mission statement for your life, for your career. So I take you through that process while we're doing the whole thing about emotional physical therapy, because in that first introduction, you have to learn about the laws of your state for practicing as a life coach, insurance, the proper forms to be used with clients, okay? This is business, people. This is a business from the aspect of, guess what? You can integrate sound business practices with coaching. As a matter of fact, it is imperative. This is key because you're being graded on this, and you must have a cumulative GPA of a 2.0 in order to attain the certification, all right? And the certification is valid for 2 years, and there's continuing education credits that you must fulfill over that 2-year period, along with the nominal fee, in order to maintain your certification. We're serious here. This is not fly by night. This is a tried and true method, and it is a method that will not only help you professionally, but personally as well. For more information, you may contact myself, Dr. Danielle Mincy White, at Dr. Dam, that's DRDAM White at gmail.com. Visit our website at www.emotionalphysicaltherapy.com. Have a blessed afternoon, and I look forward to helping you help others as you coach well-being.